we should be open for such a discussion. And last but not least, about ecosystem, I meant about the role that is put on the sector, but it's true that it's the role which should be fulfilled by not only telecom, not only energy separately, not only by the financial system, but we should work together. Just to recall your situation in Spain and Portugal without the blackouts, this is something that we need to work on, because if we prepare effective system, this will definitely give us additional money. And the point that I wanted to stress once again when I talk in my opening speech, these are about the administrative burdens, fiscal burdens that we really have as a sector. This should be definitely changed, and it should be much more effective. If we are talking about the responsibility, please consider the values of the frequencies which we are paying. Maybe it's worth not to pay as much for frequencies, but put this money for developing new technologies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a concrete proposal. Anyone to comment? Because I wanted as well to ask as well the audience.
I have one thing, because you are challenging us with the challenging questions, as you said, but let me challenge you. And
I warned you before.
and reflect to what you said, who is going to pay for that. What would you say about such kind of scenario, having this autonomous vehicle use case that as an operator you can approach car producers and say, hey, we know that the autonomous vehicle is the holy grail of the industry. We know that it's your top priority among the others, obviously. But then again, you need to have cellular connectivity. So here you go with the data pipe, do whatever you want with streaming services, whatever, but we can give you specific network slice that will serve your mission critical use case, with the quality of service, with a clear KPI on the latency, but you need to pay a premium price for that. How about that?
Okay. David will answer this
question.
Yes,
I want to join in here. The case in point is actually a good example, because it has specific low latency, security, mission critical points that need to be addressed. However, what we want to avoid is that we have to build a totally parallel network for that, or we have to change the structure. In fact, we want to somehow integrate those requirements into the generic communications model. Yes, they will be packaged differently for the different domains. The commoditization of it depends on how creative we are. I think here, in the type of discussions we have and the projects we have, we're doing lots of explorations. We're finding out new models where there are profitable services. Can I use that word? Profitable services. Okay, maybe not enough profit for our moderator, but okay. The point would be
thank you.
that we're only starting. We're not at the same scale as the hyperscalers. We haven't learned enough about how to use the data. For example, if we asked every one of your cars were the wipers switched on, we'd have the best weather map of Poland that anyone had, simply by knowing that little bit of information from every car. Oh, touché, yes. But this is the point. What is the value of that data? How can we organize a commercialization of it? Because this is the type of mining that the hyperscalers are doing. They're taking micro pieces of information and commoditizing it into some useful service. Now, we're just not good at that yet. However, we need to sort it out. There are some regulatory aspects. When it comes to health services or something, there should perhaps be some way where we can understand what health information is a shared public service and what health information is a private individual's concern. How can we manage that? I think for the question you were asking about the telcos and that, I think we're only starting. I think telco 2.0 or 3.0 is on the way. We do need to work in the future projects to define the future models. We also need more of the programs. For example, in the European Commission, they have the CEF Digital program, which is specifically an investment fund to support points where the market forces are not rolling out the new services quickly enough. Things like the cross-border handover between mobile networks. The latency, at this stage the calls drop and you have to re-establish a new call. Technology-wise, we know how we could make calls handover in a very low latency way. However, whose job is it to do it? One side will say it's not my job because they're leaving my network. the other side will probably take a similar attitude. So we actually have to understand, because of our market, we do need to supplement the development and the evolution at certain point with strategic funds.
Yes, I wanted to comment this because it's exactly what I said at the beginning. So coordination between member states is absolutely crucial. And there is a space for the fund that should support it. And we believe this is the role of the states. Mm-hmm. Yes, because we are not responsible for all of the roles which should be done by the states. But what is also, and my colleagues mentioned this about the data management and data usage, the situation in which we are, it is because there was no level playing field. Yes, so telecom operators were not allowed to use the data, while the others which are playing on the market, they were. So that is why, coming back to this example and looking into the future, we believe that the creation of the level playing field is very important. So let's have the same rules, the same services if we have. Yes, so this is very important for the future when we are talking about the creation of the ecosystem. But still, I hope that having said that okay, we are working on the use cases. Potentially, there is a space for private capital, and potentially there is a space for the capital from the States or from the European Union. But what I'm saying is that businesses should pay for the high-level services. Definitely, it should be paid. It's not the standard service which we are delivering to our average customer. But, of course, but the business which would like to have higher KPIs, quicker reactions, it needs to be paid.
One quick question, because I'm outside of the industry, but I think, at least to some extent, that telco providers have some kind of information about crucial data. Let's talk about, for instance, how many devices, like connected vehicles, are registered to the network, right? This is the data that telco owns. So they can leverage that data and exposing some APIs, I don't know, to smart city urban planners. And these guys can create some applications. And then you have payments on the API calls, right, for mobile operators, for instance, yeah. Just out of the blue example.
We are not lying, you know, that we are acting, we are doing it, and with many people involved here. We have the initiatives like Camera API, where is the common movement initiative by many operators worldwide to really build a platform for exposure of the deep API and to open it for the developers, for the market.
That would mean having like 6G as a platform idea or something like this?
It is just a platform as the exposure of the API, where where the more operators are connected, the better the value, because in the end, it is not the value if the developer has to connect to every operator independently. It must be standardized. So such initiatives are addressed, and we have a strong belief, and as well a great McKinsey report and the other companies, how the curve will grow. You know, I have seen these graphs many years ago about the 5G, and still waiting for the value caught by us. The reality is that this data as well have hyperscalers, because the piece of software they have everywhere. The partner, which usually they was with the operating system of smartphone and so on, or suppliers for our technology, right now they have more and more products on the higher value, which are just substitutes for us. Once again, only connectivity lasts for us, because the messaging is being like in the other way, video calling and so on practically is being done in the other way. And we did it by another network evolution, another technological upgrade, and it's okay, you know, to make more possibilities. The question is, once again, you know, how to make this fair trade, that we respect each other and that we as well create the framework to grasp this margin. So let me as well ask for the audience and the intuition of the audience. Dear guys, do you believe that we are able to create the setup in Europe where there will be more fair trade between telco and platform, hyperscalers, who believe that we are able to do it. Put your hand up. Okay. Okay. Who is very, very skeptical? Put your hand up. Who doesn't know? What with the rest of us? What other option I should create? But you know, it seems that it is not so clear the answer, and we have a very different perspective. So it is as well for us about some conviction and belief that we are able to do it because we are doing it. We are doing it, you are doing it, every one of us is a part of this Atlas power. The question is right now how to not make the Atlas die from starvation. And this is about it. Let's pause for a while the topic of the fair share between hyperscaler and telco. And let's go for the other ambition which we have as well around the sustainability and ensuring that the network which we provide with another upgrades of the technology is fair for the planet and fair for the society. Sustainability means not only just energy consumption reduction. It's a wider topic. It's about the society. It's about the as well building economy. It's about the equality, and as well it's about the protection, which Marta presented in the new movie. Because the technology which we provide is extremely powerful, and we know it can be a weapon. So how these topics of the sustainability are, in your opinion, and what we should underline in the next phases, next works around the so-called 6G initiatives or another just upgrade, a technological upgrade? Yeah.
Okay. The sustainability word is probably one of the most used buzzwords at the moment. But my... AI, we'll come to AI, don't worry. AI for sustainability, yes. The issue, very simply, is understanding what it means in terms of all of the ramifications, not just the pure power consumption of a particular device. AI is a good example in the context that AI can be a clever tool to help you optimize something. However, the AI device in itself has to consume power and has to be a always-on service running to maintain whatever it is. So we have to hit with the balance. What's the right balance? We had this with MIMO antennas. They increased the capacity of the antennas a bit, but they consumed a lot of power, and it didn't really solve a major problem because cost came down on one side and went up on the other. So we have to think through the whole picture. We have to try and understand what it is. We're going to have a responsibility for sustainability from a societal side, from how good we are to society. And it'll include some of the things that, again, are subjective, like the inclusiveness, the ability of all people to communicate. Are we providing the services in a user-friendly way, and so on? And there's a whole load of issues like that that have to be part of the value statement of future infrastructures. They have to be part of how we work in the future. And if we can work in a way that is environmentally friendly, considerate, and inclusive, and not consuming too much energy, then we have it. The key point of sustainability right now, turn off what we don't need. Have optimized networks. If it's a quiet time, half of the computers must be able to shut down. All of these algorithms, we're perfectly capable of doing them. We just have to go into the policies and decide how to do it. We do need to address some of our European perspectives because, as already, you're really serious, 3,000 operators. When you have so many interfaces as we have across Europe, it is actually providing a block, not in terms of any technology or even in terms of investment capital, but in terms of synchronized evolution. If I, in one country, want to upgrade my service, I have to consider, what do all of the operators that I'm connected to want to do? And I have to either work out that I upgrade and I take the cost of downgrading the connection, downgrading at the connection point to my peers, or I don't connect to them and wait for them to upgrade at some point. But either way, it causes connectivity problems and causes more expense. So we need to think about, in these programs and in the research we do and in the licensing and that, we need to think, how can we shortcut some of these loops and actually make ourselves more collaborative and more consistent, so that we can do joint upgrades and joint things, and the cost of the changes is not so difficult. This is one of the real restrictions with 5G. Many operators would like to use it, but they can't use it everywhere because they have too many connections that can't handle it.
I can just comment. I think I agree there with this trade-off. Almost every new services we do will consume more energy in some way, but it will also be higher performance. So yeah, you have to look at trade-off from case to case. AI is a good example of that. So hopefully it will improve your performance more than the energy it consumes. So then you, in some way, you gain a little bit, but a win-win. So
and
yeah.
Aside of the technological evolution, you know, you started to say, David, about as well the operational problem, structural problem, but about this separation, you know. The answer, what you proposed, is, you mentioned it before, is about the more unification of the maybe market, or at least to have a less number of the players, so at least internally they can synchronize, because, you know, so what is the other way to manage it? Because practically it's extremely difficult, and let me not comment how it would look like, but once the technology is there and we are able to make it possible, do we see the other options to make it fly and to reduce the cost of the upgrades, reduce the cost of the diversity of the network, not diversity of the people, in order to make the ecosystem fly and to make the more or less the network of the similar capacity, similar features, because if they are not similar feature and in one place I have the different, in the other the different, then the business will not fly at all. Even if Piotr mentioned about the slicing for the cars, it has to work everywhere. Otherwise, you do not provide the service on the proper SLA.
Well, I have mentioned that we may need to customize services for various individual scenarios in that. The point may be here that our friend, already mentioned, called AI, may become a key tool to allow us to actually have the differences, but have a tool that handles either the adaptation or the degradation a little bit of the service to an acceptable level, so that it can continue to perform where the interface is not optimal. So it transitions from one network to the other, but we have inherently, either in the service or in the connection, the intelligence that will allow the service to progress. But yes, I think your core point is we need to move as fast as possible to ensure all services are available to all consumers at all times. Not fairly reasonable ambition, yeah?
If we want to have them, as you say, pay more for these use cases, at least many of them what you raise, is that they are available everywhere and all the time, you know? So, right, once again to the audience, guys, you know, maybe right now we will have more clear understanding towards the sustainability, towards the network optimization in the number of the costs, not only energy, but as well the cost of the interoperability between the different network, and ensuring the same quality wherever you are. How many of you believe that AI, even if using AI, consumes more energy, will help in the end to optimize the overall balance of the energy consumption, and how much it is just a buzzword and you don't believe that AI will help us to achieve our sustainability targets. So, who thinks that AI will help us to achieve sustainability targets and we will, in the end, reduce our consumptions, at least of the energy, and reduce our costs? Okay, okay. And not bad, who doesn't believe in it? Oh, 50-50, 50-50. Amazing.
I'm suspecting there's an age profile in the answer.
Oh. David, you have a glasses. I didn't. So, but you know, if you observe, you know, because we speak one things, but you have as well your perception as the audience and your thoughts. The answer is not so clear. What is for me the output as well on this panel, from this panel on this subject is there is really a big topic to address. We do not have the answer yet. We do not have the understanding. We have the challenges. We have something like a tool, but we are not so sure, at least as the whole community, if it is the way to achieve it. It forced me thinking. It forced me thinking. So,
if I can add one comment, because we are talking about new technologies, but even looking at the results of the voting, so if we are not sure what kind of the sustainability effect will bring AI, I think what we can do, at least, is when we are putting new technologies, we need to disconnect the old one. And this should be done in a very effective way. And I mean, of course, not all of them. But when I'm looking to the telecom sector, you know, we are putting new technologies, but we have really barriers in terms of disconnecting copper. Yes, this is regulated. So if we would like to disconnect, we need to ask regulator and to get acceptance. So from this point of view, if we are talking about the sustainability, we are really responsible businesses. I think that this is something, a solution that can be considered, that it's not only about delivering services, but it's about the sustainability and responsibility. And maybe one comment on because you said a lot, and yesterday there was a lot about the standardization. I think this is something that will bring potentially some effectiveness results. So if we are talking about the standardization of cooperation, you mean Camara API, this is something that also can influence the effectiveness, but also Warsaw, maybe you don't know, is on the top of the data centers towns in Europe. So what we see as a trend is the looking for the synergies from the businesses, also critical businesses, which are moving from own data centers to the data centers which are common one, let's say. This is also something that can bring additional sustainability effects for the energy sector. So this is, I think, important that we are looking not only synergies inside the companies, but also synergies within the sector and among the sectors. This can bring potential results.
Okay, fair enough. So from one perspective, we are around the sustainability, what stops us is as well the obligation that it is not so easy to get rid of the legacy technology, obligation, duty, regulation. On the other hand, the opportunity on the sustainability is about the centralization of some components, not to make them double, but just use effective. And on the other perspective, if I'm looking on the another obligations which are coming, which are around critical mission infrastructure, which are about what is the importance of telecommunication operator for the whole economy and the country defense. It seems like more and more clearly another duties will come for us. Before the duties were focused on the customer, right? About this, it was the regulation of the market to make the price cheaper. Then there are the duties about the sustainability, which we are doing for all of us and for the planet. And right now, there are more and more visible the duties and the responsibility of the operators for making the country fly, for making the country work. And with the flood movie where Marta presented, the lack of the transmission was critical. On the Ukraine, first of the services restored was telecommunication. So another obligation, another reality with this defense and the wartime, which is very resonating, at least in eastern part and north of Europe. How do you see this change as the additional kilos on Atlas back, and how much it might be the opportunity for us to redefine and reshape the market, the technology, the services, what we are creating?
That's a very challenging question. I mean, okay, first off, I come from Ireland. It's a nice little island off the other side of Europe, which the only thing we have to worry about are the waves in the Atlantic and that. I have to say, this is first time in my life I'm this close to a war zone. So it is, how will I say, a degree of understanding that is not inherent in all of us. So we have to consider, well, what does it change in our perspective? At one level, it doesn't change that much, because every operator today is under a lot of pressure to protect their infrastructure. There are hackers, there are guys with diggers who dig up roads and so on.
But there are no bombs.
But there are no bombs. But it's a level, there is already a level of thought to put resilience in the network, to secure every interface, and to try and protect it. What we have realized in the last period is just how critical this infrastructure is. And I think the video on that shows it. It is now a core part of every service in the state. And therefore, we have an obligation to keep them going in order to ensure the state can continue to function. Now, in this context, many of the arrangements we'll have to make are just to continue with our network planning in such a way that there is diversity of routes, there is duplication of cables. Even the internet protocol in itself was designed with the concept that you could lose a node in the network but not lose the connectivity and that. So I think from one level, we know what we have to do, but from another level, it's a set of experiences we just had not considered.
Do we consider this dimension in the next coming works, in the community, research community, European projects, European programs? Because as I hear, we even have the difficulties to address and frame the questions properly. We see the domain, however, without the very precise and igniting questions, it's extremely difficult for engineers and the other guys to find the answers.
I think resilience, at least that's the word we have been working with quite some time. But not maybe.
Let me, Mårten, let me challenge it, and this is not only to you guys, but as well to all of us. How much resilience is enough to address this topic, or it may be too narrow from the design? So if the word is proper, if we're questioning if resilience approach is enough. David, you presented the thesis that it should be like that because we protect it. But we didn't face something like, even in Poland, that somebody will intentionally fire your base station, as we had a fire in Warsaw. It's not for the telecommunication infrastructure, but it was for the shopping mall, which was done by by some enemy countries from East, to destabilize a lot of the people.
Can I have one question outside of the industry? Because on one hand, to my understanding, this is a challenge and yet another task on your shoulders as operators. But on the other hand, I would consider it as an opportunity, because since it's getting critical, then I would expect to have significant investments from the country level, from the government. Because this is critical not only for your business, but this is critical for the safety of the state.
The question, what I'm trying to say is, in this situation, if we shouldn't maybe we should redefine the questions, redefine the challenges which we have. Because of course we can invest more and make more and duplicate some elements. We can make them more distributed, you know. And then we will just naturally extend by more money something like the functionality which we have and which are excellent, as David said, you know, and it will work. The question is, if we are going to spend billions of euros in Europe, in Poland and in other countries, maybe it is as well the opportunity for us to redefine the question and by this defense approach to focus and to treat our infrastructure, our technology as the dual-use technology, and then by defining and delivering additional functionality for the defense, for the army, and for the civil forces as well in the critical mission application, we develop something which will be able as well to monetize as the premium service for B2B and the civil applications. So I'm just question if this approach might give us some additional insight aside of what we know already.
I'm not sure it'll give us additional insight. I mean, I think we can anticipate and we can understand the scenario, but I think we can already see in the sovereignty discussion that we have started now in Europe. You can see the new regulations, you can see the new participation rules in that. You can see the emphasis on trying to have our own chips industry, that we can start working on our systems, if you like, from the inside out to make sure we know what's in there and we can look after it. I think this is a point where maybe we do need to sit down with the authorities and try and work out how much of the investment should come from different parts, you know, in order to achieve the vision that you're talking about of a very secure system. It's hard, actually, in this level of discussion to try and work out how much that involves, you know, how much more secure do systems have to be. We did have the discussion in Dublin at one time, many, many years ago, when an American president came to visit. You know, did we have to weld shut the manhole covers to protect against a particular scenario? But it actually gave us a discussion, and we learned that actually there were 3 or 4 manhole covers in Dublin at the time, and a very small incendiary device could have wiped out the entire telephone network. Because there were major junction points for all major cables. And it's understanding your vulnerabilities is a key point here, that you need to know how are you weak and how can you then protect.
If I can comment, because it's exactly what is going on now, I think. So exactly we are in the phase of redefinition what we think of the role of the sector and new technologies. As I mentioned, Minister report is about the resilience of the Europe and that we need to change an approach and the look at this. And also Draghi, he's mentioning of course the competitiveness of the Europe, but it really recommends to change a view. So I think that this evolution or the change of the approach, we are exactly at the point. Of course, it's not easy to define what part of the network and our, let's say, works should be connected with the change thinking and what is still the business-oriented. But I think that what we can do is to, let's say, discuss together, as you mentioned, because there is a place for the commercials, there is a role of academics, of course, but there is a role of the state in order to define where we are. Just to recall you, there is a shift of the funds which is organized by European Commission, and it goes from the connectivity as a general to the resilience, and there is creation of the fund which exactly address the points which we are discussing.
Yeah. So one thing is around the potential use cases, if they are to redefine or not. The other is the vulnerability. So identifying in the end-to-end chain, you know, if there is, for example, the rare metals, which we do not have because they are only being minored in China, or the piece of components like a software that it is difficult to replicate and it is critical and it is not sovereign. So this is another as well dimension which we didn't look before. And it is a component of the sovereignty and as well the defense, because you are as protected as you are identified your vulnerability point.
I get one thing that just sprang to my mind. Yesterday I was part of a panel discussion. There was one colleague from Japan, and you said about the awareness about the vulnerability, and he tried to express that they are very much aware how vulnerable they are in terms of natural disasters. So the state understood that, and they are working together to put a lot of money to develop networks that will work in case of natural disasters. This is a good example, I think, that other states and operators can leverage and do something together.
Yeah, so we will be finishing the panel. Just the last question to the audience. Do you believe that in your works, the elements of sovereignty and dual-use application should be addressed even more than they are addressed right now? Who think that we should address these topics more in our works? Who think opposite, that it is fair enough right now? So, at least in the last question to the audience, we have one common approach. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for the discussion. And we are at your disposal in the corridors if you want to ask us more. Thank you very much.
Hello, hello. Everything reach an end. Even the good things like this edition, the best edition ever. So we reach the end. In this stage, we are going to have the past, the present, and the future of EuCNC. I'm just sharing this closing session. I'm the past. Yes, last year was in Antwerp. This year, we have the present. Soon will come Adrian. And we will also invite the future, our colleagues from Málaga, that they will host the event next year. With no further ado, please, Adrian, floor is yours. The present is here.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Johann, for kind introduction and kind words. So I would like to thank you again for your presence. I hope that you have enjoyed everything that we have prepared for you. If everything went wrong, so let me apologize for this, but I guess it was just a few cases, I hope. We have heard yesterday, celebrating this 100-year anniversary of Nokia Bell Labs, that there was this nice slogan of 100 bits. Here we have prepared a bit more, 140 seconds of the memories. So please start the film to memorize what has happened in the previous days. Okay, so I hope that, as I told at the beginning, you have the socks and there is a sentence, something for the memory. So if you didn't notice, just please find this sentence on the socks. It is hidden somewhere, so it is something from us for you. And Pedro, I don't know, okay, maybe rephrase it. Johann gave me the challenge, and I think I will do the same for you. So we cross 1,000 something. So the challenge is for you to go even, higher. So by saying this, I invite Hanna and Paweł with the flag. And if you take the flag, I guess you will accept the challenge. So come, please. For those who participate in that event for the first time, there is a tradition that the flag is, given from the previous edition to the next edition and next edition. So it's, simply a tradition. Yeah, so we are just going this.
Challenge accepted, we are ready. Okay. I will just use a few minutes. First, congratulations again to the whole friends from Poznan. Thanks to the steering committee for accepting the proposal that we present in 23. As you can see, we will be in Málaga, June next year. This is the first time we are co-organizing. We have Telefónica with University of Málaga as the co-organizer. Okay, you know Málaga is in the south of Spain. Probably you know Costa del Sol, Coast of the Sun. Most of you, many of you knows that Picasso is probably the link with Málaga. But maybe you don't know that Málaga is also becoming a hub in terms of ICT technologies, and there are many companies who are now creating headquarters there or research labs. We have Telefónica here from the EuCNC, we have Keysight, we have Vodafone, we have Ericsson, and we are creating now a lot of research there. imec in the last line, this is the new addition. The colleagues from imec are creating a center for nanoelectronics also in the area of Málaga. Those are potential patrons that we will try to involve in the organization. Just to give a very short and quick overview, we will be in the conference center of Málaga, FICMA. It's not in the city center, but we will organize to be there on time every day. It's in the middle of a triangle with university, city center, and the airport. It's an area where we plan to have real demos outside the venue. So we will work with Telefónica, with Spectrum, and some other novelties that you will know in the future. The rooms are more like, let's say, a summer kind of center. So it's more open, different lights, okay? Just for you to have a quick overview of the rooms that we have. Yesterday on the fly, we extend the area for exhibitions because Luis told me we need to extend, so has been extended. I hope this is the last request for extension. The rooms, okay, we will have different combinations of rooms. One message for you is we are really well connected. More than 1,010 direct connections, so probably close to your house you have a direct flight to Málaga. There are many, many direct flights to Málaga. I was a bit surprised because there are 3 flights per day. Málaga-Warsaw, for instance, direct flights. Yeah, okay, it was first time you know. So transportation shouldn't be a problem to be in Málaga. If you go to Málaga, keep in mind you can spend the first weekend or the second one or both of them. We plan to organize something and the PCO will offer to you special offers also to do some kind of visits to the area. Recommendation is when you are sure you will travel, book the hotel in advance. Book the Airbnb, book anything you want to book, but book it in advance. It's not cheap, I have to say. There are many combinations, but it's a good recommendation if you start thinking on having something right now. We will organize social events, okay? There are plenty also of options for the social events. And now, if it works, okay, just last message. In your registration pack this year, you have the announcement. Maybe you are not opening the announcement, but you have everything related to the co-chairs of the program. The co-chair for the technical program will be Ivan Seskar with me. We want to have more people outside Europe, and this is one of the reasons to have a more international outside Europe technical program. Key date, 23 January. Keep in mind, you can start right now writing your papers. And if it works, yeah. The 2026 edition of EuCNC and CG Summit will be hosted in Málaga and will be organized by University of Málaga and Telefónica. Following the spirit of this well-established conference, next edition will present advanced in information and communication technologies for society, beyond 5G and 6G communications and networks. Next edition, we plan to promote the participation of national programs and we will also work to attract projects outside Europe.
Welcome to Málaga, the best city to live, work and invest, where you will find all the technological ecosystem that you could require. We have an excellent university focusing on telco industry. We have big corporations already established here. We have an entrepreneurial ecosystem as well, which is very vibrant. I'm sure the Congress will be a success.
Telefónica, the operator with the most significant involvement in SNX projects, is proud to co-organize EuCNC 2026 in Malta. Telefónica operates the most advanced 5G network in Europe, offering commercial support with cutting-edge features like network slicing or open gateway APIs. Experience the future of connectivity right here in Málaga at EuCNC 2026.
During the conference, you will also have the opportunity to explore our state-of-the-art 5G facilities and discover more about Victoria Network, a key reference experimentation platform within the SNS landscape.
See you next year in June.
Well, now we know where is the future of EuCNC. Let's come back to the present, the last minutes of the present EuCNC. Now I'll give the floor, remember, this is EuCNC and 6G Summit. I'll give the floor to Professor Ari Poutu, who's the TPC Vice Chair of the EuCNC and 6G Summit, coming from the 6G flagship, Oulu, Finland. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. University of Oulu and 6G flagship has had the privilege of supporting as a kind of co-organizer the EuCNC and 6G Summit since 2021. First one was fully online conference, second one was hybrid, and the last three ones have been on-site, in-person events. And the quality has risen again. So congratulations to Adrian, Pavel, Hanna for organizing the best EuCNC and 6G Summit so far. We have record numbers in papers, we have record numbers in booths and demos. So this has been an excellent experience. And everything works smoothly in the conference. Everything was just fine. The social program was great, and the offering in lunches and coffee breaks just perfect. I would also like to thank some of the my own people who were assisting the hardworking people of Poznan University of Technology in organizing this conference. And without further ado, I wish the best and good luck. And I can tell you it's a hard work organizing the next version of EuCNC 6G Summit in Málaga next year. Thank you very much.
Now, please, let me invite Pavlos Fornogerakis, Deputy Head of the Programs at the Smart Networks and Services Joint Undertaking, SNSJU. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Johann. Good job with my name, so many thanks. So, good morning from my side. I would also like to, I know that I have only a few minutes to finish because you need to catch your flights, but I would like to also congratulate and express my gratitude to Poznan University of Technology colleagues, but also to all speakers, contributors to this successful event. It was really a high quality event, so indeed you reached records. You had records in many areas, like as Ari mentioned, on submissions. But the important thing is the quality of this submission. So indeed, you set a new, let's say, bar here, and it will be a big challenge for the Málaga colleagues, but I'm sure that it will be a new successful event in the future. So I only have a few minutes. I will skip many of the slides because I was told that I should not speak long. But I would like to, let's see if it works. Perfect. I would like just to give you a few highlights of the event and, of course, a few of the achievements of the SNSJU, the partnership that is also behind and supporting this conference financially, but also in terms of the projects and the researchers that contribute to the success of this one. So it is clear in this event that we have a big and growing SNS portfolio, a vibrant community contributing to practically in all sessions. In the exhibition, we had, I counted 53 project demonstrations, of course, including the posters, the demonstration posters. But we have, this year, we also reached a record in our participation. And of course, this is due to the 500 million funding, EU funding, that is already allocated to three calls, 79 very active ongoing projects that are working already together as a team. We can see many of the achievements made joint publication, joint research, collaboration in different aspects of technologies. So this is important for us to showcase what Europe is doing in different areas of technologies. And this is exactly the reference figure that it is on our website. I invite you all to visit the website. It's a very nice interactive figure where you can see the different areas of technologies, the different network domains that all our projects are working on. So this is one of the first messages. But of course, as an SJU, we don't only look for the excellence, the scientific excellence, but it is an impact-driven organization, as you know. So we target to have high impact in all relevant areas of networking and connectivity. So you can see some impressive results here because they are really impressive. They concern the first 2 years, so not all the projects, the 63 out of the 79 projects and achievements up to 2024. So you can see some impressive numbers like almost 1,500 publications, but also participation contribution to 1,300 events. And of course, the real impact, more than 1,000 contribution to standards in 2 years, 91 patents, and of course, participation in the open source project. So these are really impressive numbers, and we definitely need to continue working on further improving these numbers and providing real impact to the society. So I will not stay in this, but of course you can see that we have many publications this year in EuCNC and 6G Summit. We have published, of course, together with the SNS Journal, which is the journal of all the running projects, some important publications such as this one, the SNS Trials and Pilots, because as I mentioned many times in many sessions, engagement of the vertical industries is a key priority for us. So we do it from the onset of the work program, from the first phase of the SNS calls. We already have many verticals in our projects because it's a key thing to have all the requirements as early as possible in the process. So KPIs and KVIs validation, another key message of this event. We already have starting creating the technical KPI radar on our website. We already have a publication on the project KPIs. And most importantly, the KVIs notion, which is the values, because values such as sustainability that were mentioned many times, democracy, trust, and many others are important for the success of this network generation. So there is a recent publication also on KVIs. I invite you all to see the details. And this is, of course, an ongoing process. Now, this will be further improved in the future and elaborated. We're going to have more details on our website and more details on KPIs per use case, because we have, of course, different variations per use case. And our projects are working currently on the definition, which is an important step in the vision towards the 6G vision. A big message on standardization, because indeed we mentioned that many times during all the different sessions, but we also had dedicated sessions in EuCNC about standards, about open source projects that contribute to standards, and many other, let's say, discussions around standardization. This has started. Now it is working at full steam.